Lee, you have no idea what
I have no idea
what this episode is going to be about.
Zero. So I'm clueless, and that's a comfortable state for me.
Do you ever limp raise before the flop? Limp re-raise? Limp in? You know, with aces or deuces or whatever the heck you got?
Once in a great while, I'm always nervous that I'm going to limp with my kings, and then 5 people are going to limp.
Right.
And then the big blind's going to check, and I'm going to be sad.
That's a really great place to start. So this episode is about limping in and then raising. Limp re-raising.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
That right there is one of the biggest mental leaks people have about limp re-raising.
I have a mental leak, people.
Yeah, you do. Well, we all do to an extent. And that is, let's just start by assuming that this strategy does have some viability. You know, there are some people who are going to say, I never limp at all. That's fine. Doesn't apply. But anybody who limps sometimes is going to have the possibility of limp re-raising as one of the arrows in their quiver, right? What you got to realize is as soon as you limp with your pocket aces, we'll say, you have chosen one of 2 paths for the rest of this hand. It's either going to be a big pot or it's going to be a small pot.
Yep.
Either somebody's going to raise and you get to re-raise.
And a big pot's happening.
Right. As soon as somebody raises, you're going to re-raise. If anybody calls, it's going to be a big pot. If nobody raises, it's going to be a small pot. So you have to accept that in advance at the moment that you limp and not think to yourself, if nobody raises, I'm going to be disappointed. That's the mental leak. So it's just one more play. You're playing 2-5, you get your aces, you limp. 3 people call, the big blind checks, and the thought in your mind needs to be, everything's fine here. I'm playing poker. The situation is, I have aces and there's $25 in the pot, and nobody knows I have aces.
Right.
That's all you need to know. Then you just play that hand optimally.
Right.
If at that moment you already have a thought in your mind, oh darn, it didn't work, well, you're not going to play optimally.
Right.
So the most important thing is to know in advance that every time you limp with a big pair, you might end up playing a small pot, and that's okay.
Fair enough. Okay, great.
That's really the main addition I had to make to this topic.
Okay. But this was the addition. So what's the main course of this topic?
Well, the main course of this topic is just the strategy itself, when to do it and why. You know.
Tell me.
Well, you tell me. Why do you do it? When do you do it?
The honest truth is, I only do it with the biggest pairs, and I only do it. There's a couple times I'll do it. One, when there's somebody who's just
right.
They're 6 beers in,
yeah,
or they're just super aggro or
right,
whatever, and I know that there's an 87% chance,
yeah,
that they're going to raise, especially if there's 2 guys like that.
Right. And especially if you have somebody who likes to squeeze from the blinds. That's also a huge one.
Right.
Like I'll even over limp with aces. You know, there'll be 2 people limp and I'll be in the cutoff and I'll limp behind. Wow. I've done this multiple times.
If you know that somebody is
there's a high
to
probability
squeeze out of the blinds, right?
But then if they don't, and then later they get to see the aces at a showdown, what does that do to their read on me? They can never put me on any hand ever before the flop. So there's all kinds of...
But yeah, I tend to do it when I have a pretty warm feeling that there's going to be that.
You have some reason.
Yeah. The other time I'll do it is at the Oaks and many other clubs in the Bay Area, where they have a button straddle. Okay. If I am in early position in front of a button straddle, then quite often I will do it because the stacks are now shorter. And so if I can limp in with my big pairs in the 2 or 3 earliest positions, then quite often, if we wait long enough, there might be a raise behind me. Now it comes around to the button and then they act, and now I get to drop a big raise on the whole field.
Well, this is kind of back what you're saying, is you need to have some reason to suspect there's going to be a raise.
But it's particularly useful when there's a straddle because the stacks are shorter. And I may be able to set up a situation where I can raise pre and ship the flop, right?
Yeah, mathematically optimal because of that. So I guess I did have a second thing to add to this topic, or just suggest, so I do limp re-raising with all of my pocket pairs. I mean they're all in the range.
Right.
Okay. And I've had great success with this. Now, one of the reasons this works is because my VPIP out of position is so low. Okay.
So you basically see 0 flops when you're out of position.
Unless I have a pocket pair or
Right.
ace king.
Right.
Generally speaking. So let's say we're talking about the first couple seats under the gun.
Mm-hmm.
I fold all hands but pocket pairs and ace king, and I might play ace queen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know that's kind of a crazy tight range, but because it is so tight, people are more likely to believe it when I sell them this story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like limping with pairs. This is a side topic, but if I think there's going to be a raise, I'd rather just limp with the pair, let them do the single raise, and I call, and now the stacks are the right size. Okay, where a 3-bet pot would be too big. Okay, so sometimes I'm limping for that reason, but anytime I limp under the gun, let's say with pocket deuces, always in my mind is the 3-bet plan. Okay,
it's always plan B of the pocket pair limp.
I'm either going to call a single raise, or I'm going to 3-bet. Okay, and when I 3-bet, I'm selling the story of aces or kings.
Sure,
obviously,
absolutely.
Okay, and so what it does is, to whatever extent it's not great to be limping with pocket deuces, I make up a lot of that ground by the extra fold equity. And just general mojo that happens from re-raising. Right. So this is typically how it goes. And as with most of my plays, I have already planned the next street. Oftentimes I know what I'm going to do on the next subsequent street. So let's say we're playing 2-5, I limp for 5. Typical player makes it 30. Comes back around to me, I make 100. Let's say the stacks are 1,000.
Right.
Okay. At the moment I make it 100, I know that if they call, I'm going to bet the flop 100% of the time. This is with my pocket deuces.
Right.
And I already know what I'm going to bet. I'll decide that in the moment. But let's say I decide I'm going to bet 3/4 pot, whatever. Or let's say I'm going to bet 200, which I do in these situations a lot. So the pot is 200, and I've got my 8 green chips or 2 black chips in my hand before the dealer's even got to putting the flop out. Right. The flop hits, I look at the flop, and I make my bet. And it's the same every time, okay? So basically, I mean, people have written and talked about this, about, the idea of convincing yourself you have the hand that you're trying to sell.
Right.
Okay.
Sell it to yourself first.
Right. Well, I don't even need to convince myself of that, because it's just like all scripted for me. It's just like a bing, a bing, a bing. And at that moment, at the moment I bet the 200, whatever reaction I get from that opponent, even if it's no reaction, whatever it is, I'm going to get some kind of honest read on the situation. And at that point, of course, I'm thinking about 2 things. Can I get any more money out of the guy if I have him beat? And am I beat?
Right.
That is the key question that I'm looking for the answer to at the moment I bet 200. So I just wanted to share my little script for how I limp re-raise with pocket pairs before the flop. It works for me, I believe, because of my under the gun tightness in general and of the mechanics of how I do it. Okay, Lisa, now you've heard my spiel on all this. Are you going to do anything differently?
I might try it once.
Try what? Limp re-raising with pocket deuces?
Limp re-raising with a small pair.
Yeah.
When I've kind of set myself up, right? When I haven't played a hand for a while.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And I'll just go ahead and limp in with some small pair. And then if I think the right villain has raised, who might...
So he calls.
No, he raises.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you limp.
Yeah.
He raises. You re-raise.
Yeah.
He calls. You've got 2 black 7s.
Yeah.
Flop comes ace, king, queen of hearts. What's your play?
Oh, that one's easy.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, because ace, king, queen smacks my limp re-raising range, right?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay. You've got pocket 4s, and the flop is 9, 8, 7 of hearts. There you go.
I don't know.
Bet.
It's gonna.
No,
I
you
guess.
just bet.
I just bet.
If you don't bet there, then it was wrong to limp re-raise, in my opinion. You can't do one without
Totally
the other.
board texture
You can't do one
independent?
without. In my opinion, at this time, yes.
It's board texture independent.
Yes.
I've got my
this play.
I've got my 4s. The flop is everything higher than a 4.
You are selling a story.
I'm
if you sell half the story and quit, then you wasted the first half.
Right. I like it.
Yeah.
I will try.
Okay. Cool. So there's something for all of us to try. See you next time.
See ya.
Hey, we just want to let you know that we are both poker coaches.
Yeah, we are.
And you can read about our offerings at our websites. Mine is tommyangelo.com.
And I'm leejones.com.
So check us out.
See you there.